To co, ruszamy, nie? Moi drodzy, dzisiejsza prezentacja... Alright, let's start like this because I was supposed to give this talk in English. Is anyone in this room who actually doesn't speak Polish at all? Like, okay, so you want it to be in English, right? I guess. Okay, I think it is. Everyone, is there anyone not being okay with this being given in English? No hand? There's one guy. Okay, guys, so after the talk, okay, you talk to each other, maybe like in the street, but let's stop now. So this talk is for diseases, because as you know, there are two biggest challenges in this industry: naming things, cache invalidation, and off-by-one errors. My name is Piotr Przybył, and I had to add this slide because people were asking, so what you actually do for a living? So I'm a remote freelance software gardener. So where do you actually work? The answer is where I'm going to leave my sleeping room. I work the second door left. This is where I work, which also means you can hire me if you need, because I like 80% of what I do is like JVM stuff, and 80% of what I do is like Linux stuff, more or less. Okay, 4 diseases for today: common dididoses, regex diarrhea, not made hair syndrome, and malicious stringosis. All right, so the slides are here, so you don't need to take pictures. Before we start, a little warning: caveat auditoris, which in Latin means let the audience beware. All right, so let's start with legendary I/O. We all know this stuff. Phonome architecture. There has to be some input, output, blah blah blah, yada yada. We know that, okay? This is a true input and output architecture, right? It's in German, so it's a proper kind of architecture, as you can see. So this is our system, and it has an input and an output. And our system, how our system should work, they should take any kind of input, being seeds, worms, like rotting fruits, whatever, and it should produce very nice standardized output. This is the goal of our systems, and the more put, which is like a chick or cheap we do, the better our systems should do. They should be very tolerant at the input and very strict at the output, right? So now, we are developers. We all like to judge somebody's programs by looking at the code, right? But like when my cat is sick and I take it to a vet, the vet is not taking like a look inside the cat, right? It's like examining the input of an animal, checking the output, smells right or something smells badly, which means that like by judging the input and the output, the doctor can say a lot about the organism. And so should we. We should take a look at the input and the output, not maybe strictly dive into the code. And just by looking at the input and the output, I can diagnose 4 diseases discussed today. So, yeah, this is why we do it for. So our system is really powerful, robust, and stuff. We should have such systems. Disease 1, which is common dididoses. In Latin, it's dididosis sylvestris. We all know that form, maybe except you, okay? It's a tax form in Poland. It says tax pay data, last name, first name, birth date, country, voivodeship, country, like a state, the country, commune, street, house number, apartment number, like the city or village, postal code, and the location of the post office, right? This is pretty like detailed and well defined. And we could have like GPS coordinates, maybe with like above the sea level, you know, and these 3 numbers could be working more or less like this, right? So we are used to this form, and this is how we think way too many times, I think, despite not like creating a tax-oriented software. So this form, like these guys, we know them, yeah? This is the biggest IT publisher in Poland, I think, and this is the UI. If you try to order a book, so it says like last name or company's name, first name, street, house, and so forth, and it's a city or a post office. What if I don't have any? And the postal code. And these guys, despite being the biggest IT publisher in Poland, I think, they are not quite into, you know, UI or UX, put it that way. Let me show you why. They are like intrigued about this post office. Right, they are fancy about this post office. So there's another form from this page. So there's like a first name, last name. We know it, right? And again, there's like a postal code and post office. Again, the post office. And Yeah, this is like this goes even wilder. You know, there's a house number, there's a city, the postal code. You don't see if it's required or not. Again, there's the location of the post office, and there's another like this, like postal code and post office. There's not even a place for city. Your city doesn't matter. It matters where's the post office is. As if it is so important for them, you know. Like, let's assume they collect the addresses to ship you something, because this is why actually what they do with the addresses to ship you something. So is it really that critically important for them to know where the post office is located? You're going to get their visa anyway, right? So it's not part of their business to know where the postman or visa man is going to start from. Really, it's what's important is your details, your street, not the post office. So this is actually like a Poczta Polska, so Polish Post defines how we should address. So we should put the postal code at a city or village, because everyone has a city or village. Then you should put the name, and here the house number and apartment number if you have, and here you put street if there is any, or a village if your village doesn't have any streets. Like one of my villages had. Like there were no streets. 20 houses, why should we have streets, right? Still, if you take a look at this form, they're not curious about your village or city, they're curious about the post office. Why is that? And you see, they say, I mean, the Poczta Polska is quite good at delivering, at least maybe not good at delivering stuff, all right? Let's make that clear. But at addressing stuff, right? They are in this business for more or less a century, so they know how an address should be defined. And so they say exactly what I just told you, right? So they don't tell you is there anywhere like a location of the post office? Right? So they are the post office, and they don't require the post office in the address, right? They make it clear. It should have like a postal code or zip code, and the name of the city or town or village where you live in. They don't mention the post office anyhow. And let's take a look more at these fields, like this, maybe not this here, but here. You have a separate field for a house number. Separate field. And maybe not here, or like also not here, but many times you have something like this, like a separate field for a house number. Instead of being just see here again, like a special text entry form for a house number. Again, they have like a special field, you know, in the UI and most probably in the database. And why is it so? Okay. We'll come to that later. Now, why is this such a problem? There is like a big warehouse in the next village. I mean, I live in a village, and in the next village there's a big like warehouse, big super duper supermarket. Maybe you know them, like the Selgros or Transgovernment recently. And this is their address, and it's quite obvious. Let's say it's the postal code, the village, street, and the number, and that's quite okay. I mean, they get the delivery, everything. But well, the trouble is, in this village, in Długołęka, there is no post office. The post office is in Mirków. So this is their invoice. Again, see, they have swapped the name of their village with the village where the post office is. So it's not their location. I mean, it's like this address doesn't really exist. But they're so fancy, and someone who designed that or put that in live was so fancy about the village where the post office is. And why is that? I mean, okay, they say, okay, you're too picky. It works for them anyway, right? I mean, they get every delivery because this is the map of our area. Like this is the village where the post office is. This is like the other village, it's just Długołęka, and we have so many Wrocławska streets because Wrocław is like here, right? So it's kind of obvious. You have like every street leading to this city is Wrocławska street. That's kind of obvious. Even in Krakow, we have like Krakowska street because of Kazimierz things. Okay, so like this is the code. This is like the village where the post office is. It's exactly like in here, right? And the postal code is for all these locations except this tree, because here's another postal code and here's another. So even if they write their address like this, Wrocławska 4C, postal code in Mirków, and despite being located like in here, they will get the delivery anyway, because everyone knows Selgros is here, not in here. So what's the problem? This is my problem, right? This is my bloody problem. That's why you have to like witness this talk, because it's everything fine if you're well known, if you're like almost anonymous like I am, and if somebody like I don't know, stupid seller sends something like this, usually like it doesn't work right away. And why is it so? Because there are few Polna streets in this postal code, right? So again, guess where's the delivery man calling me from when he has the message, Mr. Luke, I can't find your house, right? He's standing right here, despite me living right there. Again, because someone was so fancy about the post office, right? And he doesn't work for the post office. He never did. Most probably he never will. So why, like delivery companies whose name starts with G and ends with LS Poland, have like policy like this? So they require you to give like the precise location of the office of the direct competitor. And I don't get the delivery, right? That's the problem. This is how these guys hack that. This is like the commune office, Urząd Gminy Długołęka, and they hack the address. They put like Długołęka ulica Robotnicza Street. And this is a postal code, and this is the location of the post office. Just to make sure they get the delivery. See, everyone recognizes the big warehouse, not everyone recognizes the commune's office. This is how it works these days, apparently. Okay, so it gets even worse with addresses. They can have such an enumeration: street, avenue, settlement, square, roundabout, another square, like a settlement and a village. And now, imagine we're in Warsaw, and you're living in Aleje Ujazdowskie. Not avenue, not Ujazdowskie Avenue, but Ujazdowskie Avenues. What do you choose? See, you can't get in a bloody account in one of the biggest Polish banks because your address doesn't match. Sorry. And it works like more like this, because sometimes there's like a Wybrzeże in Wrocław, which is like a, I don't know, Q. Or you can have like a boulevard. It's missing in this list, right? Like the deputies in your commune, in your city, they don't care if you name your street or they didn't say it's like a street bar avenues, you won't find yourself on the list. And again, they have this like special field, extra field you see for a house number. Again, so let's skip the other end. Let's not take a look at the database, because why should we get dirty? There are villages in Poland which have no streets. There are such villages, really. So if you have this nice input to your system saying street, it means I'm digitally excluded, right? Because I might not have the street. Even more, there are states or countries in the world which don't have any formal streets, or they don't have postal codes or zip codes, like in Africa or Far East. Now, please tell me, how do you translate your UI then? How do you translate your database structure? So why are we so fancy about fields like this? Why do we have this separate field for the house number? And you know, the answer many times is because ask why, Johnny, why did you do that? Why there's such a form? Why did you do that in the database in such a way? The answer is did you hear about it? There's event sourcing also. So that's the answer for a separate field to keep to store the house number. And I say, okay, DDD, can you explain that? Okay, this is our domain, really. Like, if you ship from one store in Poland, do you really need to have like a separate field for a house number? Okay, assume there's a huge street, and you're in a pizza delivery business, right? So you might want to deliver to this crossroad for free, and there to charge extra. Then you care for the street number, because this is your business. or like my granny used to live on the street. So like even numbers, one side of the street was one parish, jedna parafia, the other side was another parish. You know, so the priests don't fight in the street. You know, whose district is this? So for them, such a separate field might make a sense. But for you, if you just like ship and deliver, it doesn't make sense. It's not your domain. So please, do something like Poczta Polska does, right? They have this is like the sender, recipient, this is a postal code, city or village, just the location, and a free text entry, right? And that's it. They don't have this like special box for house number, special box for a village or a town where the nearest post office is, because it doesn't really matter, neither from senders or receiver's perspective. It's not your domain, for sure. So there has to be. In Poland, it's said that there has to be like a postal code, and always there's like a village or town, and you always have a number on your house. So this is like if you don't, you're not legal. Sorry. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing. But let's not discuss this. So we can go this way, like these guys. See, they have this like free text address, no special field for like a house number or apartment number, a postal code, city or village, and you just enter the province. Maybe for statistics, I don't know. We could live without this, right? They could like derive that from the postal code. So it's almost correct, I'd say. This is how it should be done, I think. So my prescription, don't excuse yourself with DDD when you create a crappy form or a crappy database schema, especially if you have no idea what you're talking about, right? I'm not a DDD expert, but I can tell you for sure that separate field for house number or separate field for location of the nearest post office, in most cases, like 99% of cases, isn't your business case, so it's not your domain. Okay, disease 2, regex diarrhea. In Latin, diarrhea regexis. So let's go to not like snail mail, but electronic mail. Yeah, let's say you would like to have like a fancy schmancy fiber optics, and this is your email address. So you won't register at Orange, Poland. This is like correct address. We use it, right? For like, yeah, we use it. You guys keep nodding. But this is like illegal. This is incorrect email address. Yeah, this thing like social security. If you just have like a raw email address server, this is really collect your spam. Okay, they won't accept it either. And by the way, take a look at the fancy, super secret, and very strong password. Upper letter, like small letter, a number, and some special characters. Nobody would guess that. Okay, so in Poland, when you have to like register a car or you have sold your car, you need to go to the country's office to get that done. You need to inform the authorities, I have sold the car, right? So there's a queue system in the country where I come from, so you can like pre-reserve your queue, your number for the queue, your ticket. And again, they don't accept this address. I have this +S, stands for spam. Okay, so I can easily tell which is like a valid, which is spam. Okay, it says incorrect email format. So I have decided to take a look at the code, right? At the code because it's like JavaScript validation. And now, for you, sir, because everyone else knows that in English, we don't take, in Polish, we don't take a look. In Polish, you throw an eye. This is what you do. Rzucamy okiem, right? We throw an eye. So I have thrown an eye on this code. And so can you, here's an eye, just it's an eye for you, sir. Throw it on the code. Yeah, he threw well. Okay, so the eye has been thrown. Let's take a look how it works. So I have kept the formatting just for you because I like you guys. Sorry for my formatting. Something doesn't really work that much well. How do I scroll on this laptop? Okay, so not this thing. Because here, yeah, see. First of all, we shouldn't mix it like this, yeah. But see, this is the regex. Like they accept lowercase, uppercase, numbers, underscores, and they don't accept the plus sign. because this plus means at least once, right? Donkey, and here's the domain, and here's the dot, and then we follow, because sorry, I have like a, how do I get back? Sorry, let's do it like this, yeah, because I went to the sources, sorry. I've went to sources, so yeah, see, and this is also another problem. Because the code is so ancient that your extension, like top-level extension, needs to be like 3 or 4 characters long. So like, let's say I have a mailbox at this fancy, how is it called? CoreDump.events domain. Events won't fit here either, right? So this is how, and this is the link, so we can check it. There's one name in this link, so maybe you can blame the person. Okay. These are correct email addresses. These are correct email addresses according to various RFCs. So you can see, you can use like this plus sign, or you can use IP addresses. And this wasn't, sorry, there's something wrong with this display, because it should be like Asian characters here in these boxes. You should trust me. And these are incorrect. So we can't have like 2 dots. One following another, this is illegal, or you can have something like this, or you can have more, just one donkey, or there needs to be a donkey, or like a domain address, or something like this, because you can see here and here. And like, this is the problem with this regular expression, right? It won't pass this email address, but it will accept this email address. So it's pure nonsense. It has false positives and false negatives. So it's like, okay, we can play, but what for? And you know, this was also one of the exercises at one of these boot camps, because I'm also a boot camp teacher. Is it possible to validate an email address with the regex? And turns out it is, at least in Java. Who wants to throw an eye? Who wants to throw an eye in again? Maybe. There's a volunteer. Okay, so you throw an eye. So you throw an eye and this regular expression. This is the regular expression I wasn't able to hack, which works for Java, or so they say, that they validate email addresses. And sorry guys, I have forgotten, because I'm being a Christian, I need to follow this eye for an eye. So there's an eye for you, and there's another eye for you, okay? Okay, eye for an eye. So see, it is possible to validate email address with such a regular expression. Okay, so we could avoid these false positives and false negatives. Thing is, what if you misspell your email address? I have misspelled the misspelled, you see? So I won't get the email address either. It will match the regular expression, but I won't get the message. So what's the point of validating that with regular expression in the very first place? That's the question. Maybe you should like implement like RFC checker, or maybe you should like follow all of these RFCs, and there are more. And maybe a server doesn't support it, this RFC, because the guys who implemented the servers didn't give a damn about these RFCs. Or maybe we should test like MX or SMTP, or maybe there's no such mailbox, right? It's still perfectly valid, but there's no such mailbox I have seen. Or maybe the antivirus will stop it. You bloody spam sender. Or maybe the mailbox exists, it won't stop, but belongs to somebody else actually. So the SMTP test will pass, but still you, being Joe Kowalski, won't receive, because you made a typo, to join Kowalski. So, yeah, that's another validation. Who wants to throw an eye? Any volunteers? There's a validation of something. What do we, somebody should throw an eye, okay, I have thrown at you. Let me scroll it. There's a validation of something. What do we validate here? URL. Who said that? You, okay. So sorry, I have no more eyes. Normally I have just 2 eyes, but I have jellies for you. Okay, yeah, this is exactly the validation of a URL. So what can pass this validation? This is like, by the way, this is a PHP, and I really, really hope you guys don't do that in Sorry, I should maybe click here. You guys don't do that in any language, like? You don't do this like, if true, then true, else false. Yeah, it's okay, but you know, it's like if you return it, then it's like inferred to be true anyway. So there is an explanation, but still, I don't find it like super duper percent valid. Okay, what can pass this URL validation with this fancy regular expression? By the way, okay, I'll show you later. This is a part of the PF sense code, and this is like a firewall system. Okay, they use it for firewalling. So what can pass? This will pass. This will pass, this will pass, this will pass. Note that there's a space here, so this is a valid URL, and so is this, according to this regular expression. So if you have a problem and you solve it with regex, you end up having two problems, right? Except for Perl. So my prescription, if you collect email addresses, just like you did for snail mail addresses, but this time this is like for email, and you do that to send emails, maybe you should try to send the first one first, like with a confirmation link or something. And then you really make sure that this email address not only exists, but it also works, and this person has access to it, and can actually receive emails, you know, because they are not digitally excluded. Because validating email address is like, okay, it might make sense to try sending an email there. So it's like kind of a pre-validation, but it's not like the final and ultimate step. Okay, past regex, I'm done. It doesn't work this way. Okay, we have more diseases. Disease 3, not made here syndrome. In Latin, syndroma non fecit a nobis. What's here? What's in this created? What's in this created column? Timestamp, who said that? Yeah, you're very experienced. I throw, you catch, okay? Sorry. Pass it, okay, yeah, because, right. So this is a timestamp. Of course, this is how we should keep the dates in database, right? We should just invent it here. It can be also can go like this, so we can keep variable character for all these dashes, you know. Or it can give in like this previous disease we had, like DDoSes. Now we have like a date and hour, like we have to spread it. Or why don't we simply do something like this? You know, dates and time are quite common to humankind, I would say. And somebody did that already. They have this timestamp, and you always like want to keep it with time zone, or you want to know which time zone it is, like UTC or GMT. All right, because then you you're acquired by a global player, and it turns out that you cannot like fit in their business, for instance, because you only support one time zone. So, yeah, this is what it ends up with. If we have this fancy schmancy our own date formats, this is like .NET, but still can be the same in Java and any other language. You end up with your own date parser, or something like this, yeah. We just split it, we convert it to an integer, then we like convert it and make another string. Yeah. Because as they say, the WTF, there is no project crappy enough in its own crappiness if it doesn't have its own date parser. If you have your own date parser, you're a proper like business project, right? If you just rely on these bloody datetime libraries, you just suck because you don't have your own date parser. So there's another one, like database in database. Have you seen this? This beautiful meta table for everything, because we don't know these types here and we want to be agile. So this is how these guys reinvent relational databases in databases. Right? This is like a meta database thinking and programming. Or we can generate the CSV in a database, like such a script. We select something from a lot of joins, then we iterate, we generate the header, then we iterate over each row, each column, and if that column is a timestamp, mind you, if it has like a timestamp in here, right? we format it in a different way, else we format it in a different way, and we should have like escaping, new lines and something. And this is the actual case I saw working in production. 200 lines of code to generate like a simple CSV report instead of doing this, because it was PostgreSQL. This is your query, and you just say to standard it with the CSV header, and you just direct it to a file, and you're done, and everything is done. This works exactly the same with your own implementation of everything, not only encryption. This is how it works. You get disappointed at the very end because somebody hacked you or you have a bug or something. If you have itchy fingers, in Polish, sir, we have itchy fingers, you know? Palce nas świerzbią. We have itchy fingers because we don't think, but our fingers are so itchy we want to code something right instantly, you know, because we have to do it here in our company. It has to be invented here, it has to be our code. And you want to like parse data your own way, implement database in database, develop your own DNS resolver or hash passwords your own way. I have another talk about passwords, or generate CSV. You should remember someone somewhere already did that, and most probably better. It's right there, just search for it. As Venkat said, like he's this talk about don't walk away from complexity, run. And he says, you shouldn't build what you can download, but also you shouldn't download what you don't need. Remember that. So my prescription for this disease is, if you're holding this golden hammer or a silver bullet or whatever you call it, and you want to like hammer everything into your code, just ask your friend to give you a gentle slap. So you get that. Instead you hitting something with a hammer, you're being hit like this. Wake up. You can. I'll be happy to answer later. Sorry, because we're running out of time. There's one more disease. Okay, sorry. So this is the disease, malicious stringosis. In Latin, stringosa malignum. And there's another table. This is the other end of the system, mind you. We are examining right now. So it has this ID, which is like 36 characters because we need to keep the UIDs in here. This created our own beloved friend, and we have like a name, which is okay. This is tax ID, kept as long. It's like a NIP in Polish. And we have this balance, which is a double, and there's some check because we check precision. Who knows such table? Who saw it in their own code? Nobody wants to admit that. Cool. At least, guys, you know it's a shame. Cool. And then in the database, in our code, like in Java, it like kind of evaluates into this class. So there's string, 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 primitive, and primitive, right? And then in each and every method in plain old Java, we have something like this. When there's a tax ID passed as long, first we validate if it's really tax ID. If it's not, then we like throw an exception, and then we can proceed with business logic. And so for the client-related operation and so on, every goddamn thing has to be validated like this, because you can pass here 42, right? You can pass it, and the compiler won't mind, because 42 is like a valid long. Or empty string is also like a correct string, but it's not our client ID. So let's try to do it again. Let's try to do it properly this time. So let's change the table. So we should keep this ID as UID. And as I have shown you, we have like a timestamp or whatever, depends on our precision. We can keep the name as a variable character because names are actually variable characters, right, in the database. So this is like a proper. But for tax ID, maybe if you don't have like possibility to create our own type, we could just have a NIP, this Polish numer identyfikacji podatkowej, can be stored in 10 characters. It's always like 10 characters if you skip dashes, and there's a checksum inside, so you can check it quickly, for instance. And there's as for balance, you can keep money, at least in PostgreSQL. And this is how what you end up having in Java. See, this is immutable, this is immutable, this is like a proper type. And a monetary amount from Moneta, for example. Or we can even improve it. We can just create an alias type, client ID, so we just don't accept any UUID, but what we know is client ID, so we don't pass like a tax ID or something. And mind you, we got rid of this balance, because balance is something that changes, mutates, right? And here we have almost always immutable things. Well, maybe companies are renamed, but then you can handle it by like it's called a human interface, right? You tell your intern to change that in the database directly. You don't need a special like a software handling that. So and you may end up having something like this. And then in each and every method in Java, in vanilla Java, you have something like this. Assuming you got this tax ID, it's already valid. You only check if it's not null. And like in Kotlin or like in C#, you can assure even in here it's not null, right? So if you get it, it's already like valid, and you don't need to validate it in every piece of your code. And so it's here, because if you don't do that, you end up with such API absurds. Like, what does it mean to get the first character of client's ID? Or what's like a business value, or what's the proper usage of like concatenating client's ID with tax ID and getting it as bytes? Or what does it mean, assuming these are longs? Like you check which is like minimum of IDs. I mean, this is valid, right? This is valid, valid Java code, and the compiler won't mind. So premature optimization is also a root of all evil, as they say. Remember this mutable balance. We also got rid of this. And mutable objects are optimization too. So if you have mutable objects, you usually do that because of performance, right? So this is an optimization, and in most cases, premature. Or is it generate JSON isn't an argument, at least not for me. Yeah, like most of the tests I write are stupid. What happens if I send a string? What happens if X is none? It's like I don't know, a PHP or a Python developer. And there was a great answer by Mari Fusco. A library that makes those stupid tests for you is probably one of the best definition of what a statically typed language is for. Yeah, this is statically typed language, like Java. Okay, my prescription, every time you keep stuff in Java as a string or as a primitive, think really, very hard, guys, if you're not turning Java into PHP. Really, because if you keep everything as string, as an integer, as long, without any type aliases or whatever, you end up having PHP, really, because there's a string you need to interpret every goddamn time. So the conclusion is like this. After you've chosen the right data structure, algorithms become obvious. So data structures, and therefore also UI, dictates what's becoming obvious or not in your business, in your application, in our systems. And remember always, so not only at this conference, not only this talk, but also for every other speaker, provide feedback. And if you're like even too shy to like tweet about it or mail about it, or like, I don't know, like fill some internet poll, you can pass such a paper form. It works as a feedback for, I assure you, for any speaker as well. We still made it on time. Thank you very much, you guys. Enjoy your lunch and stay fit.